What's up, everyone? I am Wink.
And I am Skillz.
And this is Scream Cheese. Today we are going to talk about Requiem for a Dream, directed by Darren Aronofsky and starring Ellen Burstyn, Jared Leto, Jennifer Connelly, and Marlon Wayans. First of all, we'll say Requiem for a Dream is not exactly a horror film, but it is a horror film enough for us to talk about it here on Scream Cheese. This is one of Skillz' favorite movies. I am, as of late, a big fan of Darren Aronofsky, and so we just needed to hit this film. We had to do this one. So I went ahead and watched it. And let's talk about this, Skillz. In Requiem for a Dream, the drug-induced utopias of 4 Coney Island people are shattered when their addictions run deep. All right, Skillz, tell me, why are you such a fan of this movie?
Well, you already said it. Darren Aronofsky. How do you say his name?
Who cares?
Yeah, Darren A.
Darren Aronofsky.
I love that dude. I think he is hands down one of the most unique directors in history. We recently watched and reviewed Mother, which Wink had already seen, and I absolutely love that film. I can't put my finger on it, but his films are almost like a dream, you know? That's how I felt about Mother, and that's how I feel about this. If I told you the plot line, you'd be like, okay, big deal, drug addicts. If I told you all the beats, you'd be like, that's not that interesting of a film. But the way Darren flavors the film, the way he presents it, the atmosphere is like palpable, as they say. But it also takes you to a place emotionally. Like in this particular film, this was my first time seeing a film from him. And I remember I was watching a friend's house while he was out of town. And I got a copy of the film. I heard about it from another friend, didn't know anything about it, watched it. And I remember afterwards just thinking like, holy crap, what did I just watch? This was incredible. I really felt for these characters. I felt the emotion every step of the way, all the way to the very end. It was just like, holy crap. I had seen it when it first came out, and Wink, this is your first time truly watching it, so share your impressions with me.
Well, I absolutely loved the film. I will tell you that my experience so far with Darren Aronofsky has been that regardless of the material in the movie, regardless of what the movie is about, I feel like he uniquely taps into my emotions. In this movie, it hit me very early, dude. I don't know why. Dude, I'm like gonna get emotional talking about it, dude. It was like in the beginning.
It'll be good for the video.
Right. No, but in the beginning of the movie, there's this shot above the bed of Jared Leto and Jennifer Connelly laying in bed, and he's telling her like how pretty she is or something. And dude, I burst out crying. I don't know why. I found it like really genuine, and I can't explain why I was feeling that way and why it hit me so hard, but it did. And I don't know if like that happens to people when they see that scene, but I will say it's a similar experience that I had in Mother, where Javier Bardem would say something and like I'd get emotional. It's just, I feel like it's something that Darren Aronofsky is doing. Similarly, dude, there is that monologue with Ellen Burstyn. I think maybe in like the third act, maybe late in the second act. Dude, I started crying so hard during that monologue that I missed the second half of the monologue. So then I had to rewind it just to catch what was being said and everything. And once I got past the part that I had seen and I'm getting into new material again, I burst into tears again, dude. Like, her performance is so freaking amazing in this movie.
I know.
That then I had to look up, because she was nominated, I had to look up and find out that Julia Roberts won that year. I think that's who she was against. And while I'm sure Julia Roberts in her movie was fantastic, dude, this is like gonna be a hot take. I don't think that Julia Roberts, and I could be wrong, I don't know everything about her career, I don't think that she could do anything close to the performance of that single monologue in this movie. Ellen Burstyn's monologue, which when you see the movie, or if you have seen the movie, you'll know, that monologue may be one of the single best like monologues in a movie ever. Anyway, I don't even really know what to talk about, dude. The movie was
here's the thing.
Fucking fantastic, though. So there's that.
just off the top of my head, it might have been Aaron Brockovich that Julia Roberts was nominated.
That would have been it.
Yeah, because the subject of that film was important. But here's the thing. Ellen definitely deserved to win. I have no problem saying that. She was amazing. When you bring up like the best monologue, I'm thinking of like Pearl. There's very few actresses that can give a monologue where they just go on. And I rewatched Pearl again recently, and the monologue at the end of that is just captivating. It's just, yeah. It's like an action film. You look forward to the monologue because it's so it grabs you. I feel like Darren has a way of capturing small moments and scenes and little dialogue that are it taps into something deep in our psyche, but it's not just one element with him. To me, this film has my second favorite soundtrack of all time. Obviously, the first one is Halloween, but the soundtrack in this movie is incredible. It commands your attention, and it's become like a classic. People have used clips from this soundtrack, the film score.
Yeah,
they've used clips from this and tons of things, but it's just an entire world. You can just tell like he is an artist, and it's not just like, oh, get this guy to do like kind of a dark kind of sound or a score or whatever. No, everything feels organic to the film. Every aspect complements the other. But yeah, I felt like all the acting in this was incredible. Ellen was just out of this world. Like, her whole story alone was fascinating, but the way he weaved all these different storylines and kind of doing a parallel between like, well, these guys are just, quote, street addicts, but his mom is equally an addict. But there was something about it beyond like your typical addict where like they have a problem or they had a bad childhood. This was more of like, you truly feel like all of these characters are wounded deeply. They need these drugs, or these drugs are giving them some sense of hope, but from looking at it from an objective point of view, there's no hope in that lifestyle.
Right.
But there's like moments in this film between all the characters where these glimmers of hope, like if we just do this and then everything will be good and then we can live our dream,
Right.
It's not going to happen, and it's just heartbreaking. It's an incredible film. So
yeah, just a couple of things. Like, number one, about like the score, you bring up a good point. I was going to say that it has remained culturally relevant.
Yes.
If you scroll through like TikTok or Instagram enough right now, you'll run into a clip where they reuse this score for particular things.
Yeah,
but
it's classic.
Also in the filming technique, when they like do drugs and it's the quick like That stuff where I don't know if this was the first movie to do it, but I know that became like a device that was used that still might even be used today, where they do those quick shots of stuff, It
is a device, and I want to say that it might have been the first, because when I first saw the film in I think 2001 or 2000, I remember at that time I had no experience with any type of drugs of any kind, and I actually felt like I was getting high with them. It was weird. Just the way he like shot it and portrayed them getting high,
Yeah. I would say one other thing, and this is just like an observation, take what you will from it. Aside from like a recent film, we've come to expect serious acting talent from Jared Leto. And I think that we do get it in this film, but I would say that I thought that Marlon Wayans' performance was actually the stronger, more genuine performance. Even though his character may have not quite had as much screen time, I'm not sure, but I personally saw a better performance out of Marlon Wayans than Jared Leto in that.
I agree, dude. I am a huge Marlon Wayans fan. Haunted House, scary movie. I know it's silly humor. There's just something about him that just appeals to me, and I love him. But I remember how good he was in that film. But I also think that, again, it comes down to Darren as a director. When he directs a film, there would be no reason to have cast Marlon at that particular time. In fact, some people might have said, like, that's not a good cast. Like, this is kind of the funny guy. But no, he saw something in Marlon, and he's like, that's all I need. If you're an actor, if you're in the hands of a good director, I'm assuming there's probably no better place to be.
Yeah.
But I agree. He was great.
All right, dude. Well,
all right, bye.
Yeah, I
hey, can you cry real quick,
later.
dude? It would help out so much on the CTR if you could just...
Dude, I could cry. That movie, it's a gut-wrenching movie.
Imagine we end this video with... and you're sitting there weeping.
Well, I guess one last thing to point out is the fact that this is a pretty defeatist film, and I like that in my...
I do too.
We've kind of talked about that before. I like to feel very strong things when I'm watching movies, and like feeling something terrible and dire doesn't escape that. Like, I don't need to walk away feeling happy, but yeah, this movie doesn't make you feel great, but it makes you feel really, really hard. So
yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
All right, dude. Well, if I had to score this movie, I would give it a 9.1. The things that knock it down for me are kind of story-based. I believe this is a book adaptation. I think there were so many stories going on that we only got what was absolutely pertinent. And I would have liked to have seen more. And also, dude, this is just a very personal thing. But in a defeatist movie like this, where I am going to feel bad, man, I would have really liked... There was only like 1 or 2 scenes where I really felt like I was watching them enjoy their drugs. And even then... those parts weren't as exciting or fun. Like, I would have really liked to get into the drug parts in a more fun way, I guess. But yeah, those are the only things. I feel like there's some story elements I would have liked to see more world building, you know? Those are the things that I feel like count against it, but I did absolutely love it.
No, that's great, man. I'm glad you loved it, because I do too. And I totally see your points. I give it a 9.5. I think the big difference is when I saw it, you know, I saw it when it came out, and at that time, to me, it was groundbreaking on so many levels, but it was mainly a film that, like you said, just really made you feel like this isn't the kind of film that you watch and you just turn it off and you go and, you know, you start scrolling on your phone or you make dinner and you forget about it. You know, like, this is the kind of film where it sticks in your head for a while, you know.
For me, it's the type of film that right when it ends, you go look up who could have possibly beat Ellen Burstyn for the Oscar that year.
Yeah.
That's the type of film this is. It's
the kind of film that makes you, after you see it, you know, you just kind of want to, I don't know, put a noose around your neck and just hang around in the corner. So
yeah, kind of.
No, it's not. It actually wasn't. It was a very stimulating film to me. It wasn't a depressing film. But so here's the thing. I want my life to be all good and happy, but when it comes to watching movies and films, that formula of everything ending perfectly is great. We see that so much. Yeah. So when you see a film like this, it really stands out, you know? Yeah. And it also is kind of a reminder of reality in a way, because like what took place in this movie is happening everywhere. And not to bum people out, but it's nice to have like a different type of film experience. But I do know that, again, this is the type of film that there's probably a lot of people in my life that wouldn't enjoy it because it would bum them out. But for me, it's like the same thing with Mother. For me, I kind of enjoy that kind of stuff. So,
all right, folks. Well, let us know what you thought of Requiem for a Dream. Also, let us know of any other movies we should check out, review, talk about. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, suggest your favorite scary movies in the comment section below, and we will see you next time. Peace out, cheesers.
Peace.